Hey YouTube, this is Ben Gussel. How's it going? Um, for dinner tonight, by the way, this is gonna be a general vlog type video. Um, for dinner tonight, I tried adding a little bit more aji amarillo spice. It's AJI amarillo, AMARILLO. It's like a South American kind of thing from Peru. And I probably added a little bit too much of that. Still came out fine, but a little bit peppery, a little hot. But I had some other stuff to kind of tone it down. And yeah, one of the things, by the way, with cooking with spices is has to do the balance of flavors. And the aji amarillo was probably the strongest for sure. But I had a lot of turmeric in there, as well as a little bit of mace, and cumin probably didn't help the spiciness. But cumin, the aji was it cut through a little bit. The aji amarillo isn't quite as hot though as cayenne pepper, that kind of thing. It's not like there's some things that isn't quite as hot as, but it's up there a little bit, and it's kind of a fruity, it's a fruity flavor also, along with some heat. But that's why it's good to mix your fenugreek and turmeric, and maybe like a mild kind of red powdered paprika, um, or things like fennel seed, or a little bit of coriander. Ginger kind of is in a little bit different arena heat wise. Ginger can be, you can call it, I don't know, it can be intense, but yeah, you want to balance basically the flavors that, or the spices that are more mild and soothing spices with the more fiery spices. They're still very healthy for you, but have more fire, like more heat. And along with there's other flavor things that you always consider as well. But anyway, so that all being said, it was amazing. It's amazing how I was listening to unintentional ASMR. ASMR is a funny subject. It's a really weird thing. And I just, was like, oh, it's unintentional. So that means it's people are talking about something else. They're not trying to speak in a way that makes your head and your whatever tingly, and it doesn't have that effect on your body. Just wanting to just kind of shiver, but in a good way, you know. But the way their voices are, they just naturally have that quality. And this is one of those subjects that you guys can keep looking up if you want to. But it's unintentional ASMR, and it's very relaxing. But I was listening to a Buddhist guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I think he's dead now. But I never really knew about him. He's a really, really good guy. A really good guy. And from Vietnam. I think his last name is Han, H-A-N-H. And a lot of what he was talking about was Buddhist, was Buddhist thought, but he, in his mind, he said, I don't really differentiate. I don't see Christianity as, or Western religions that way, as being um, in opposition to Buddhism. He kind of sees them both in the same, they're in the same way of life, right? You can kind of be both in a way. And I think that's a very respectable and very understandable kind of comment. And without getting too much into this, and I've had a few religious discussions with folks recently. One in particular was really, really great chat. Western in the West, as we know, the topic of religion is a lot more contentious. Not just Europe and the Americas, but also I would say to some extent, it's also, we're talking the Islamic world, Islamic, but in the Far East, or at least in Eastern Asia and India, with regard to Hinduism, Buddhism, Shintoism, Taoism, and all these other types of things, Um, in the West, it's the doctrines are very um, this is what's true, and heaven and hell, good and evil. If you don't believe this, you're going to hell or whatever. And that's why it's so much of the reason why it fuels so much anxiety and fear and anger and everything like that. In the East, it's a very different thing. It's more the nature of the human spirit, I suppose, and managing your emotions and your spiritual health, emotional health, balancing chakras and things like from India. It's just it's more of a holistic kind of approach, and in general, and you can kind of be different, you can combine religions and things, and you know the nice thing is about the East is you can research and study, and you can learn everything as much as you want to learn about all that stuff without necessarily being a member of a religion. And the process of learning these different religions, by the way, you might think that you're becoming more of a Buddhist or Hindu, whatever, but uh, I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit more unclear sometimes. um, yeah, you have to decide for yourself what it is you believe, or what word you put to describe your beliefs. But it's kind of like a well, as far as I know, I mean, you can be officially a member. You can be a Buddhist if you're going to be a Buddhist monk. You're definitely Buddhist, and if you're giving presents to the Buddhist monks, or you're going to visit them. But as far as I know, the thing is that with a lot of East Asian, a lot of religions from Eastern Asia, it's not like there's a lot of baptisms and things. They don't have like the ordinances or ceremonies or the rites or whatever that. Yes, they do, but on the other hand, it's just that the West we're so cut and dry with religion. These beliefs are this religion, this one's that. There are a lot of religions that have a lot of things in common with believing in God and believing in things like moral law, obedience to commandments, which is also very much like Eastern religions. It's just but it is very much like this. It does feel more contentious at times in the West. And I guess my overall train of thought is it's very very nice to listen to somebody who's devoted his life to not being angry and to not letting when anger comes up, you treat it like a crying child, and you try to appease it without being negative toward anybody. All these kinds of trains of thought. I've talked to some folks about this before. A Korean gentleman I knew, teaching his daughter piano lessons, and this is really, I mean, it's really good stuff. And I mean, I love this stuff. And it rings so true with so much of what we believe in the West. But it's just sometimes we just are very prone to think in terms of thou shalt not and thou shalt. And if you don't, it's like you're a bad boy if you do this. And yes, okay, it's bad, but there are so many times when I feel like there's a lot of things that often go unsaid in families in the West. If the parents think the kids are being good and they're going to church and they're doing their homework, whatever, everything's okay, right? What could possibly be wrong with your kids, right? Well, I'm not saying that that's kind of an extreme example of just assuming that everything is always okay if all the outwardly kinds of related things are going fairly well as far as you can tell. There's just a very internal spiritual thing going on with each one of us. And it isn't necessarily that Eastern religions address it more. It's just that, well, when you listen to someone like this Buddhist guy, you cannot help but be prompted or reflect on the fact that, yeah, there is a very, very real essence inside of us. That's the spiritual essence. And it's, it's, it stinks to feel like you're being ignored when you're trying to say whatever's on your mind, or something's wrong, or something isn't the way it should be in your life. And, you don't want to feel like something's amiss, a bigger thing, but it's still a very real thing. And it's, in the West, we value so much. I mean, I'm not just saying it's just the West, but there's very much a avoidance of punishment worldwide. But in the West, it's like, especially historically, there's kind of been a lot of fear again of being in trouble with your dad, for instance. We don't have to talk about Sigmund Freud, but yeah, he talks about that kind of stuff, amongst other things, such things, and there's a lot of things that throw huge wrenches in the lives of people regarding this very subject. Uh, and I think it's just, you know, everybody should be able to benefit from this kind of stuff that this gentleman's saying. He's talking about controlling your anger. But this isn't just what I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna make a few videos maybe tonight, but he's talking about controlling your anger by not just immediately just going berserk, right, when you feel anger. We understand this stuff, but what we don't do is, if anger comes up and there's nobody around, but we're just dwelling on angry feelings. In my church, my religion, we're taught to sometimes read scriptures or pray to get rid of that negative feeling. Yeah, yeah. It is also the case, though, that we probably need to not always condemn ourselves to hell, so to speak, when we feel bad for feeling not such a good emotion. Um, but it's also important that in addition to that we don't condemn others to hell, right? Usually, anger can go either way. It can be self-directed, or it can be toward other people. What we want to do is understand what's wrong, think it over ourselves. Remember not to be too hard on ourselves, not beat ourselves up. And at the same time, we don't want to beat other people up. And if there's something that's egging on that anger, either if we can't leave the situation, we have to do a lot of self-regulation while that person that's egging us on is there. And it's hard, but it can be very beneficial, of course, to when you're interacting with someone who's egging you on in some way. Well, there's things that I talked about with this very subject with this a guy I know that's Korean. We talked about how you can make a situation more humorous without making fun of someone, or think about something lighthearted or something more pleasant. And certainly with this other person, sorry about the phone. Sometimes this just comes up here and there. I think it was answered. So, but you can actually clarify to a person, is this what you meant? But that doesn't always work with some folks. Sometimes you have to, well, if you become very serious, there's a better chance of getting angry. There's something I've learned when I was younger. If you respond with a joke, or you respond in a way that is more inviting, it's not hostile to the person that's trying to egg you on. If it's more inviting regarding, you acknowledge that they're trying to be funny, but they're trying to tease you, and they know it. But you also acknowledge that you can kind of tease them back a little bit without being mean. That's also a great skill to develop, and it's not always easy to do. But whenever you make fun of someone, they might get upset too. So but it's something that is very common occurrence, and I think we tend to get better at that sort of thing with time. It just there's maybe less of the, I don't know. It has to be a bigger thing that makes us upset, or it should be a bigger thing that makes us upset. Okay, so without talking about just about that subject, because there's other things as well. um, yeah, I don't know. Like, um, I'm just feeling pretty good overall. I had something else I was going to mention. What was it? Oh yeah, I've been trying to organize. Not organize. Well, trying to. This is a project. I don't know when it's going to end. It's going to be a multi-year project probably. I've been trying to um, take all the music I've ever heard and listened to. I'm trying to put it in these categories of how much I like it, 1 to 10. But it's exhausting, and I'm starting with my YouTube music, and then I'm going to go on from there to everything else I've ever heard. Sorry about that. I'm gonna have to step outside here for a second. I'm gonna probably make another video later on tonight. No, it's been answered. I'll make another video tonight. That's more of a anyway. I'll put my coat on. I'm not sure. Either tonight, if not tonight, then tomorrow for sure. Covering some other stuff that's been happening and other things that whatever in my mind, um, but I also want to say this much. And I'm just talking about some general things here. It might seem that I'm more upset about some things than I really am. If I ever have a video where I'm more upset, or at least if you guys don't feel this way, then at least my parents do. My parents are very sensitive to anger. It's just that yeah, anger was always something that was very shunned in my family growing up. Well, probably more than most folks, but it was just not approved of. So kind of what I'm talking about with this Buddhist guy also rings home in a way too with this. Um, yeah. Um, so if you were upset and this still happens, and you're talking to your dad and you're upset, and your dad calls you out on your anger, and why are you so angry? You shouldn't be angry. And it does have a tendency sometimes to make you even more upset because uh, depending on how you're talking, who you're talking about, what you're talking about, you're in so much of our lives we hold back from expressing anger because we don't want anybody to feel that negative energy, right? But when you're talking to your parents or someone that you're close to, anybody you're really close to, your wife or whatever it is, your husband, you're very open with them about everything, and so when they get after you about something about this like something like it, like being angry, it's very 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 easy to take offense at that because you wonder, wait, this is my real feelings. For so many people that I interact with, I can't speak this way that I'm speaking to you. I'm being very real with you, and with other people, we try to put on masks and we try to make things pleasant with everybody, and what's going on, and it's just that and everybody, most everyone, I don't know, has some kind of flare ups here and there. I think it's okay to say, can you calm down a little bit, just a little bit, maybe, or just take a walk. We go take a walk and then come back and we can talk. But it's important, of course, how you say that. But it's just there are certain moments where if someone's very very angry. Um, yeah, I just don't respond to people that are ever angry like that so much. Usually, if someone's really angry about something, the first question I ask is, "Are they angry with me?" And if they're not angry with me, okay, I'm gonna listen. Probably be more like a cheerleader, supporter. Like, yeah, that's not right. You're right. Or if I feel like something isn't quite right, I won't always say what it is that's a little bit amiss about whatever it is that they're thinking. Depends on the situation, depends on the person, just depends. So many things just depends, but I'll try to focus more on the commonalities that I have with this person regarding what they think, why they're upset. But if a person is actually upset with me and they're depending how angry they are with me. Um, I'm gonna actually try to first really get a crystal clear understanding of what it is they're upset about, and if they're able to listen, without getting too angry, then I'll explain what happened in a very clear tone. Um, you know, but yeah, if someone's angry enough and you feel the intensity of that anger, you actually need to step out for a bit and say, "I'll be right back." Or let's talk about this just a little bit later. You step away from the situation so that they can calm down. If they're still not calm, you have to say, "Let's talk about this when you're a little calmer." And if you can't wait, you have to be really level-headed and just take care of the problem right then and there, in terms of what actually has to happen right then and there, if there is a time limit to something happening, right? Well, this involving things like paying bills or whatever, all that kind of stuff, taxes or whatever. The thing is what the emotional side of what it is that someone's upset about. You want to still work on that, but you want to make sure if you're talking to somebody, you want to make sure that they're calm enough. But that's what I try to do. And once I understand, if I messed up, I will admit to messing up. I'll try to make amends the best of my ability. That's usually what happens in my case. Um, if I still don't think that they're right, though, if I don't think I did anything wrong, you at least want to express, if you don't mean to offend somebody, which you shouldn't. But I usually say something like, um, "Gosh, I'm really sorry that you feel this way, and I don't want you to be upset. So I'll just do my best to, you know, um, be aware of that you're upset about this sort of thing and whatever. And okay, I hear you loud and clear. I hope you're feeling better soon." Kind of thing. But that's but you at least have to say, I still think that I'm right in this situation, but I understand also that you're upset and you think you see this as a different way, and I have to respect that you see it differently, and I don't want you to be upset. So I'm gonna, work on you not being upset, and you know, at least if you try to respect someone's emotions that way, it goes better. But um, yeah, the problem, of course, is when you insist that you're right and they insist that you're right, that it can get heated really quickly. And yeah. Okay, so there's some other things I wanted to talk about. But this music project again, by the way, it's going to take a while. And in case you're wondering, it's just that I'm taking every genre of music, and it's starting with the top level stuff, with the very highest ranking I would give certain pieces of music. I'm going through every single type so there's all of my favorite film stuff, my favorite soft rock, my favorite classical music, and my favorite new age or whatever it is, and it's the same thing with each of these other categories. So I'm not going to be done with this for a long time, um, but I also want to mention, by the way, it's so awesome that there's so much awesome, great material we have on YouTube. I can't say this enough, that there's so much great content on YouTube. And I mentioned a video about YouTube earlier today, mentioning that it's a pretty straightforward course of action on my end. If you haven't seen it, it's worth watching. But what makes me worried is when you value certain content on YouTube. Everybody's a little different here, but if you value certain content so highly that if that content was ever taken away from YouTube, it would really throw a wrench in your enjoyment of YouTube. The more that's the case, the more yeah. I mean, like it's kind of like It's nice to have everything that you can watch all in one place. In my case, it's YouTube, but I'm very worried that YouTube will not be that way in the future. I'm not too worried. The main thing you want to do, if there's some content that you really love that you're worried it's going to go away sometime, whatever it is, depending on the nature of the content, if it's, for instance, if it's music, you want to write down, that's why you write down your favorite pieces and your favorite composers, and you remember these guys, so you can get the music yourself, or you can find it somewhere else. Spotify, Pandora, or other places. Yeah, iTunes or whatever. So that's the solution. But and then of course the issues. There's issues involving how uh, well. In case you guys are wondering, this is one of the many reasons why I haven't. There's a lot of things I haven't done yet on YouTube. I'll put it that way. Um, YouTube is just not. When you actually have a physical employer, if the boss is a physical person, and you're making money from somebody's your boss, and there's an actual company, and you actually go over the policies and everything. That's a very tangible. That's more tangible, right? And the more concrete these policies are, the more concrete everything is, the more predictable everything is, the more that you can have peace of mind that you can have a decent, at least part of your income can be from this stuff. And the less it is that way, the more you have to think, oh, it can be a little bit worrisome, especially for those folks that only make money via YouTube. And they're looking at other websites and how they work and everything. It's just like it's kind of a wild, wild west thing. And until all the dust clears away, until I know what to expect in the future, I mean, there's no guarantees, folks. I'm just saying. YouTube's policies can seem just like a nice old or nice lady, right? A nice lady that is really mindful of kids and parents and everybody and wanting everybody to behave. And she could seem so wholesome. I won't say who this person is I'm thinking of, but I've heard other comments in this regard regarding YouTube. And I can't tell you there's any guarantees here. As much as I want to say, this is a very sweet and loving community, or it should be, even if it's worldwide. At least in my channel, I try to keep it sweet and loving. No matter how big I ever get on this channel, or another channel I start, or another whatever. But this is now you guys know why I'm so with just my own channel, why I want to keep things really friendly and nice. Because that's the way I want things to be on my channel, friendly and nice and considerate and all these things. Even if the much larger community of YouTube at large is often not this way, or people can be great. A lot of people can be great, but the company itself is, well, yeah. So, but it's not very transparent. It's just not very transparent. It's yeah. I don't need to tell you guys this, but it's just not very trustworthy. Is all I guess you could say. Different kinds of employers are more or less trustworthy, and that's a subject for another video we can talk about too. It's very easy to be naive about the working world and to be too trusting, right? In bosses and things, and that's whether it's online or actually a real, I don't know, brick and mortar place that you go to work to or something. I don't know. Any type of anybody who isn't your own isn't you, right? Anybody, yeah, I don't know. It's just but okay. I'm gonna wrap this guy up. I think I've made my main points here. I might make another video a bit later. We'll see. I'll catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.